Welcome to Game 5 of the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Sergey Karjakin. Today's game played specifically on the 17th of November 2016, and we have Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces and Sergey Karjakin with the black pieces. And so far, in this game, all three games that Magnus has played with white have had completely different openings. Gone are the days of the Alacan Capablanca type of games, days when just about every single game of their 34-game match was the Queen's Gambit declined, analyzing the theoretical novelties of that opening in minute. Carlsen chops and changes between different openings at will to try and create as much confusion for his opponent's analytical team as possible. Here we start off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and instead of playing the Spanish opening, Carlsen plays bishop c4, going for the Italian, also known as the Guacapiano. Continue with bishop c5, castle short, knight f6 and d3. The ultra quiet form of the Guacapiano, often referred to as the Guacapianissimo, and it's tempting to just comment that such quiet openings are unlikely to bring white much of an objective advantage, but that isn't the way Carlsen plays. Just like Emanuel Lasker before him, he's often not so concerned with playing the most critical lines, but more in reaching a position in which he can show his true strengths, and quiet methods have secured Carlsen many victories from positions that initially didn't appear to offer any winning chances whatsoever. Continuing with castle short a4, which is an incredibly unusual move, completely weakening white's pawn position, but he manages to gain something coming out of it. d6, c3, a6, b4, bishop a7, rook e1, knight e7, which is a fairly standard plan in these types of positions. Continuing with bishop bd2, knight g6, d4, and c6, h3, e takes on d4. Karjakin is trying to break apart white's center, but the results are not especially favorable for him. He should have tried to keep the balance by something really simple like rook e8, if for example. Continuing with c takes d4, knight takes e4, and bishop takes f7 check, which is a somewhat surprising decision, but a good one nonetheless. Continuing with rook takes an f7, knight takes an e4, d5, knight c5, h6, rook a3, bishop f5, knight e5, knight takes an e5, d takes an e5, queen h4, rook f3, bishop takes an c5, b takes an c5, rook e8, rook a4, queen e7, queen d4, rook e to f8, rook f3, bishop e4, rook takes an f7, queen takes an f7, f3, bishop f5, king h2, bishop e6, rook e2, queen g6, bishop e3, rook f7, rook f2, queen b1, rook b2, queen f5, a5, king f8, queen c3, and here Karjakin sunk into an incredibly deep think that effectively left him with 4 minutes to conclude the final 7 moves until time control. King e8, rook b4, g5, and interesting and a highly committal decision to set up on the board when he's literally got about 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Rook b2, king d8, rook f2, king c8, queen d4, queen g6, g4, h5, queen d2, rook g7, king g3, rook g8, and Karjakin sneaks in under the time control barrier. And in this position, Carlsen plays the immediately following the time control move of king g2, which is not that brilliant. It blocks the path of white's major pieces to the H file and is a serious positional error, which after which white is clearly worse in the position and he has to fall back to desperate defense to be able to counter the pressing that Karjakin is able to do down the center. H takes G4, H takes G4, D4, Queen takes in D4, Bishop D5, and here Karjakin fails to make the best of his chances, because for instance if he'd played something like Rook H8, you got Queen E4, Queen H6, King F1, Queen H1, check, King E2, Bishop D5, which would have been incredibly unpleasant for Carlsen to be able to deal with. And then continuing with something like Queen D3, Queen A1, Bishop G5, Queen E5, Bishop E3, Queen A1. And it's unlikely that white would have been able to survive in the long run, which would have been a major breakthrough for Karjakin. However, he played Bishop D5, allowing E6, Queen takes E6, King G3, and the crisis is effectively over. You've got Queen F7, and it's now just dwindling itself down to yet another draw. Rook H2, Queen F7, F4, G takes an F4, Queen takes an F4, Queen E7, Rook H5, Rook F8, Rook H7, Rook takes an F4, Rook takes an E7, and Rook E4, which is a completely forcing draw, and the players shook hands in this position and split the point. For instance, you can have a closer look at, for instance, after the drawing move of Rook E4, if they continued with Rook takes an E4, Bishop takes an E4, all of this is effectively forced. King F4, Bishop D3, King E5, Bishop D7, King F6, King E8, Bishop H6, Bishop C2, G5, Bishop D3, G6, Bishop C2, G7, and Bishop B3. Black is in no danger whatsoever, and during the press conference following the game, both players said that they had essentially seen this line all the way through to this position and realized that it was a completely forcing draw, and that's why they decided to split the point way back on move 51 instead of playing a further 9 moves in the game. And that is how the game concluded, and that also at the same time concludes my report on Game 5 of the World Championship match in New York City between Magnus Carlsen and Sergey Karjakin. Be sure to like and share this video. Post any comments, questions, criticisms that you may have in the comment section down below. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, and last but by no means least, stay carved up for the win. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Go vegan.